and hello out there, everybody. What's going on? This is Miho with the Too Close to Call podcast series, and this is once again the Pitt Panther podcast series, I guess is what the hell we're calling it. But because it's the Pitt Panther podcast, I am joined by my father, Chris Mihalik. Chris, thanks for coming on once again, my man.
Miho, thank you very much. And may I start this episode by just going, dun-dun-dun-dun-dun, Penn State sucks. Dun-dun-dun-dun-dun, Penn State sucks. P-E-N-N-S-T sucks. Oh, Kevin, I love this week. Nothing gets the juices flowing better than a Penn State game. And by the way, with that intro I just had, a little funny story I have for you regarding that.
Okay, go ahead.
Years ago, you and your sister Valerie took you to a Pitt-Penn State game.
Okay.
Bands playing by the way, that was from our fight song, and it was like ad-libbed into that.
Sure. And
we all stood up and chanted that, and there was this old woman in front of me. And she turned around, looked at me completely like appalled. That is so rude and disgusting. And Kevin, I swear to God, no sooner than 5 minutes later, okay, Pitt comes running out in the field, and there's 110,000 nitwits chanting, "Shit on Pitt, shit on Pitt." And I tap her on the shoulder and go, "And that's okay? And that's okay." But hey, that's what this series is all about, right?
That's what it's all about. And if you're listening, it is probably early Saturday morning. You're en route to State College today, Happy Valley, for the noon kickoff between your Pitt Panthers and those Penn State Nittany Lions. Pitt comes in 1-1 after covering last week, which you said would happen against Ohio.
Thank you very much.
I don't think it was as pretty as you thought it was going to be with a 20-10 final.
But they did cover the point
spread.
They
did cover, yes.
They would absolutely cover the point spread. They left a lot of points on the board.
I was going to say, I think you said 30
yeah,
was...
I did. And it should have been, it could have been 30, could have easily been like 35, 40 points.
Well, how so? Because 20, man, not good
well,
again.
It's the same problem they had in the Virginia game. They had 5 false starts. They had numerous drop passes. Not numerous, not as many as they did in Virginia, but they had a couple drop balls in the red zone. So, yeah, it could have been worse, but hey, a W's a W.
Yeah, that's true. And Kenny Pickett, 26 of 37 for 321 and a touchdown. Obviously much better than he was in week 1. I think this in Wake Forest last year were the 2 games where he had over 300 yards. And that's got to be a good sign, as, I was ripping into him pretty good, saying we needed much improvement. And he showed it against Ohio, and now it's just going to be a matter of if he can show any sort of it again against a top 15 program here in Penn State.
Yeah, exactly. He was much better last week. The wide receivers are better. And I'll tell you who stepped up last week was the tight ends. Here's a statistic for you. The tight ends this year in 2 games have already caught as many passes as they did the entire year last year.
Well, 37 more pass attempts from Pickett. What in the hell? Did you see a Pitt quarterback?
And Miho, I don't know if that's a good thing or not.
Oh, yeah, that's to be determined.
But here's what caught my eye when I was watching the highlights of that game, because I had to watch the highlights because I don't get the ACC network, but we discussed that last week.
That's right.
Anyway, it was the yards after catch. The tight ends from Pitt caught the ball, but they were able to get some serious yards after catch, which was really good to see. And it's something they're going to have to do this weekend at Penn State, absolutely.
Yeah, they're going to need everybody this week. They'll probably need a special teams player too as well. And
yes.
The one constant through the first 2 games, and I think it's something that Pitt fans can kind of hang their hat on as they're going into Happy Valley going, okay, what do we know? Because there's still a lot of question marks, still a lot of new changes, but what do we know through the first 2 weeks here? And I think we know that Pitt is pretty darn good on the defensive side of the football.
Yes, they are. And that's what I'm really looking forward to see, how they match up with the Penn State offense. I know Penn State's put up a lot of points. They're an explosive offense. Obviously they have.
What, they score 80 against the Potatoes of Idaho?
And by the way, I did not realize they're an FCS program.
Oh, you didn't know they went down to 1AA to try to compete?
I did not know
yes.
that. So yeah, that's
the Lehigh and William and Mary standard hosts.
Exactly.
Absolutely, were aware of the 1AA action.
Exactly. So we're going to put an asterisk behind that one.
Yeah. So we played Idaho and Buffalo.
Yeah, exactly. And by the way, a little tidbit of information.
Okay.
People are talking about the Pitt Ohio game and the Buffalo and Penn State game. Ohio beat Buffalo by like 40 points last year when they played together.
Really?
And
they're both MAC schools, so that makes sense.
And a lot of those people came back this year for Ohio. They had the quarterback. They had like 4 linemen back. They had running backs back. So, Ohio may not have been that bad of a program.
And that's where we talked about last week, Nathan Rourke, the quarterback, being the rusher, coming off week 1 with Virginia being a rusher. Penn State, different style offense.
Correct.
Different style of offense. First time they're truly going to see that 3, 4, 5 wide receiver sets. Maybe one of them's a tight end, but he'll split out, kind of like the Eagles do it from time to time.
Go Birds.
Yeah, go Birds. And that's where I don't know how Pitt's going to adapt and adjust the secondary to line up against these 3, 4, 5 guys. Like if they go into dime and nickel, is Pitt going to have the depth to be able to run with the likes of Jahan Dotson, who scored twice against Buffalo last weekend and is a Nazareth, Pennsylvania guy? Shout out Lehigh Valley. Yeah, shout out Lehigh Valley. Got to show love there for sure. A $109 and 2 scores, nothing to sneeze at. I don't care who the hell you're playing. That's pretty damn cool. So, that's just the question for me is Pitt's secondary, if they're going to be able to match up, because obviously I think Penn State's skill position players are going to be the most talented group that they've seen year to date.
That's going to be the matchup I really like to see, because honestly, I think Pitt's going to stop Penn State's running game, and it's going to come down to the passing game. And on paper, the Pitt secondary is one of the strengths of their team. I mean, they literally have 3, maybe 4 guys that could be playing on Sundays in the future back there. So it's going to be real interesting to see how they match up with the speed of Penn State on the outside. But, they're going to play press. They're going to get in their face. It's going to be man-to-man. I mean, Pat Narduzzi, he plays man-to-man. He leaves those guys on an island out there. So it's going to be real interesting to see how that plays out tomorrow.
And another thing, thinking back to, this is obviously the 4th matchup in a series of 4 games, so kind of the last matchup here, and that's something we'll touch on later in the episode in much more detail. But just referencing kind of the first 3 games, and even more so the last 2, it seems as if Penn State has kind of pulled away in the second half and really kind of separated themselves in the 3rd and 4th quarter. And I'm thinking a lot of that has to do with the line of scrimmage. And you mentioned that Pitt's strength kind of being the secondary with 2 injuries to the defensive line. I'm questioning your thought process there about them being able to stop the run. I guess what makes you so confident that you think Pitt will be able to show up there being limited defensively?
They pretty much stopped the run against Virginia and Ohio. They have been in the backfield, numerous tackle for losses. Both games, they have pretty much dominated the line of scrimmage. As we talked before about the Virginia game, all Virginia scores were short fields. They did not have any long drives against the Pitt defense. So, again, Pat Narduzzi's first stop the run. And if we're able to do that and put Penn State in the passive mode and our secondary steps up like they should, we have a good opportunity to win this football game.
So as Pitt fans, we believe the defense is going to keep this a competitive football game this weekend. I don't feel as if Penn State's going to throw up the 59-72 mark. But on the other side of the football, Pitt's offense averaging 5.13 yards per play, which is good for 101st in Division I football.
Correct.
But you said they left a lot out there. I don't know, man. I just keep reverting back to the thing of I don't think Pitt's going to be able to score enough points to win this game. I think their defense is going to play well enough to win this game. I'm not sure the offense is going to be able to score enough points to win this game. I don't know if they can go into Happy Valley and put up 30.
Yeah, you couldn't be more correct. That's going to be the challenge. Like Pitt, Penn State's defense is low. I mean, they're very similar teams. Penn State's got a sound defense, a lot of guys coming back. Their offense is new people, question marks. Same thing with Pitt. So, I mean, if you go by the book, this could very well be a 6-3, 10-7 ball game. But that's going to be the challenge for Pitt is moving the ball against Penn State. And I think the biggest challenge for Pitt is it really comes down to the offensive line. You know, they have to do something they have not shown they could do. They have to control that line of scrimmage. And Kevin, I don't know if they can do it against the Penn State front.
Yeah, Penn State's got a lot of athletes up there.
Absolutely correct.
They got a lot of athletes. And at the very least, you can live with getting beat physically one-on-one, but you got to eliminate the mental mistakes, the free rushers, the blown assignments. everything like that. And obviously, if they turn the ball over, this is going to be game
I'm
over.
just worried we're going to see more of the same with Pickett. Takes a deep drop, rolls, and there's a Penn State guy staring at him in the face already, and that's what they cannot do. But that's I think you're going to see a lot of double tight ends tomorrow's game to kind of maybe give some max protection type thing, because they do have wide receivers that can get open, stretch the field. But yes, that's the question mark.
Pitt's running game has been interesting this year to me as a fan, because Vincent Davis, the freshman,
the kid,
getting some run. When he went in at the very end of the Virginia game, there was some questions, some comments. A lot of people weren't sure what the hell was going on because, yes, with the new redshirt rule, you get 4 games where you can use a guy and still redshirt him. And if you're putting him in at the end of a game where you're down 2 touchdowns for the last 2 carries of the game, and you're telling me that's one of the 4 times you're going to use him, we have issues here. And apparently that wasn't the case, because obviously we saw him the exact next week against Ohio where he got 12 carries and was was a bigger part of the game plan. So what's your take on the Pitt running back position now that we've seen a couple of weeks? We knew we had a bunch of guys kind of coming in who had the opportunity to establish themselves. What do you think about, Vincent Davis and A.J. Davis and all of those guys?
That's a great question, Kevin. I mean, again, Pat Narduzzi said, maybe they should have went with this Vincent Davis a little bit earlier in that Virginia game. But that was a big game for Pitt. That was an ACC game, ACC division game, and you're going to throw a freshman out there where you don't know what you're going to have. But since then he's actually proven to be a pretty good running back. But he's still a freshman and he's not that big. So you have blocking responsibilities, and you got to make sure that he can, answer that part of the equation,
sure.
when it comes to
especially on the
pass
road.
blocking.
Yeah, blitz pickup is key.
Exactly right. So the other running back, A.J. Davis, he's been solid. He has shown some signs of breaking breakaway speed and being able to get down the field. Had some good runs, good passing. He's can catch the ball out of the backfield. There's been some good things, but what I think you're going to see, though, tomorrow is maybe a little bit more of Mihalik Carter. Here's a kid that came out of nowhere last year against Duke.
Yeah.
And was running these jet sweeps. And if you're a Penn State fan, you know all about Pitt and the jet sweeps. But this kid's got speed.
They don't have George Aston to use this.
Yeah, I miss George. Great day to punch somebody in the mouth. But anyway. Yeah. I mean, Mihalik Carter may get the ball tomorrow too a little bit. I assume he's playing because he got taken out of the game last week against Ohio with going through the concussion protocol.
Okay,
but I haven't heard or read anything, so I'm assuming he's a go tomorrow. But you may see some of him tomorrow as well.
Interesting. I like that because big picture, and this is kind of how we'll wrap things up, talking bigger picture Pitt Penn State and bigger picture strictly from a Pitt fan's perspective and somebody who follows the program. And in my eyes, you may not want to hear this or like to hear this as a Pitt grad of the 70s or whenever the hell you were there a long time ago. It doesn't matter. But I don't think this game tomorrow really, truly matters at all for Pitt in regards to how the nation will look at the program and how these kids they're recruiting are going to look at the program, because Narduzzi's gotten the kids from around Pittsburgh he wants to get, as well as these kids from Florida don't care about the Pitt Penn State game. These kids from Georgia they're trying to recruit don't care about the Pitt Penn State game. There hasn't been one recruit in the last 3 to 5 years that has gone to Pitt or Penn State because of the outcome of the Pitt Penn State football game. That's not a reason why any one of them has picked a school over the other. Truly, it's not recruiting. It's not for rankings. It's just, I understand how the old heads like yourself are kind of hanging on to this rivalry, so to speak. But us millennials, I'm more exhausted than I am excited for this Pitt Penn State game. I almost want it to be over just because you can't take all the bullshit that comes with it. It's as just a kid who's a fan and maybe not an attendee or a diehard and has been brought into that world. It's just guys, you both say Penn State says they don't care at all when they give a shit. Everybody knows it. Pitt just rides on Penn State, and it's just guys, come on. This is so yesterday. Just stop it.
Wow. That was a mouthful.
Yeah.
And you're right at a lot of those points. So let me let me first of all talk about the recruiting process of this.
Okay.
You're absolutely right. This has no bearing at all in recruiting.
I don't think so.
None whatsoever. And I mean, Pitt's, I'll tell you, Pitt's even, their recruiting has changed. They don't recruit the whip. Sure, they recruit the Ripio.
Yes.
But they're
not coming into the Philly prep schools.
No, not at all. Not even close.
Right.
And they're not recruiting Eastern PA. They're going to Florida. They're going to Georgia. They got a whole different footprint than they did years ago. And, of course,
Absolutely.
Penn State recruits nationally as well. So, along those lines, this game has nothing to do with recruiting. It really doesn't.
Back in the day, it did for sure.
Absolutely. Back when the Whippio was bringing out, 20 All-Americans and stuff like that. Absolutely.
But in 2019, you got to play every year because everybody loves it around. It's like...
No, and you're right. And honestly, Pitt has everything to gain tomorrow and nothing to lose, in my opinion. Right? They really do. I agree. And honestly, the same could be said the following week against they play UCF at home. What an opportunity for Pitt. They play 2 top 20 teams. Hey, how about if they beat both of these teams?
Hey, let's start with one of them now. Okay,
how about they beat both of these teams? Imagine that. But this is the opportunity that Pitt has right now.
Sure.
Right? It really is.
As a non-college football playoff team where you need every game.
Exactly.
Just win one of them. Just beat one of the ranked teams. And that's where it gets back to, are they going to play again? And that's me saying, I don't care.
Kevin, I'm a baby boomer. This Pitt Penn State series means so much more to me.
That's what I'm saying. Y'all care a shitload.
To your sister or my son-in-law who went to Pitt. She graduated from Pitt, I think it was like 2007. And, she said, Dad, I despise Penn State because of you. Because the way I was brought up.
Right.
But to those people, it was nothing. There's nothing there.
Sure.
Okay, and I understand that. And your point of being tired about this, Kevin, I couldn't agree more. Yeah. And I'm a baby boomer.
Yeah.
I'm done with it.
It's the worst.
I'm done with it. I am so tired of this series. Hey, let Penn State go do what they want to do. We'll do our thing. I don't, honestly, and I can't believe I'm really saying this.
Yeah.
I don't care if we ever play again.
Right.
I am so fed up with the whole bullshit of this rivalry, and they're not wanting to schedule us, but they can schedule us.
Well, it really is because it's not mutually beneficial for both programs anymore because of recruiting and the landscape and the different conferences, and it just too much has changed for this to be we have to play every year.
Here is the thing: the people, the fans of both teams want to see it. As much as Penn State fans say, they're not a rival, we're above them. Okay, 2 years ago, I'm at Happy Valley. They, I think, had the 3rd highest attendance record. What does that tell you?
Sure.
They can say all they want about it's not a rivalry. The Penn State fans want to see this series continue. Okay.
Well, because
of course the Pitt fans want to see
under the radar, they just love kicking Pitt's ass.
Well, possibly, but it didn't happen 3 years ago, did it? And we'll see what happens tomorrow. Right?
And we'll see what happens. And that kind of parlays back into it. But 17 and a half point dogs, Pitt Panthers going in. What's your thoughts there? Do you think that's about right going into the year? What kind of chances do you give them to pull off the actual upset, right, or do you think they cover?
If I think they cover, but I am not putting any money on this game because same thing could happen as last year. Okay. And if this arrogant prick James Franklin has a chance to run it up, he's going to run it up.
Well,
and by the way, I would love nothing more to have Pitt have the ball with like 30 seconds to go on the 10-yard line and poke it in to run that score.
Well, hell, everybody runs it up, man.
Absolutely love
you got to kick ass to make the college football playoff,
and that's
dude.
another problem. That's another episode we can talk about.
It's how you win, not just winning.
That's what scares me not scares me, but that's why I'm not betting on this game because if it gets out of hand like it did last year. I mean, last year's game, I think it was 14-13.
It was a touchdown game at halftime.
I mean, it was a close game at halftime.
14-6 at half or something.
And then Pitt just self-destructed.
And the weather was super shitty.
Oh, it was horrible day all around. And then it just snowballed. And so if that happens again, that could very well happen again. So that's why I'm not touching this game I'm not putting any money on this game.
My prediction is a late backdoor cover by Pitt. I think Pitt's going to be down 20, 21 points, score a touchdown late in the fourth to make it Yeah, see, I just don't think Pitt's offense is going to be able to score against Penn State. I really don't. And without a turnover or special teams play.
Yes, here's what they're going to do.
They're staring at 20 points.
They're going to need a turnover or two. There's no
and they
question
can't
about
turn it over
and
themselves.
that's right. And I'm not sure they're going to be able to do
right.
that. But they need a turnover or two, and they need to convert points out of that.
Right.
Okay.
34-20. Penn State.
Well, I'm not giving you my prediction just
You
yet.
know? That's my prediction. That's where I'm going. 34-20
so you have Pitt
and like
covering.
34-13, and then Pitt scores late in the fourth to make it 20 and ends up covering.
But here's some optimism or hope for Pitt fans.
Okay.
They went into South Bend last year.
Yeah, they were in that game.
Right. Not only were they in that game, they should have won that game. If our field goal kicker, who's a pretty solid kicker, misses 2 30-some yard field goals.
Yeah, wow.
I mean, it was heartbreaking. I mean, they would have beat Notre Dame. Okay,
Right.
And what did they do? They blitzed. They changed up their defenses. I forgot who the quarterback was for Notre Dame at the time, but he was thoroughly confused.
Yeah.
Okay, and they need to do the same thing again tomorrow.
Sure.
They can do it. They can
Well,
do it.
that's the one thing is Pitt is definitely going to have the most talent that Penn State has seen thus far this year.
Absolutely.
So
And they're going to have the most speed that.
yeah, Pitt should hit him in the mouth.
I think they will.
Yeah.
I absolutely think
And
they
that's
will.
where it's
I'll
going to
be
be a matter
disappointed
of
if they don't.
Penn State's going to rebound, then they're going to hit Pitt in the mouth, and that's where it's going to be a matter
this
of.
by far is the best defense that Clifford is going to see.
Right.
So you talk about the Pitt offense. Let's talk about the Penn State offense. Yeah, I know they've put up 140 some points. Okay, but against two. Okay.
Well, yeah, but
they
that's-
haven't been tested. There's some question marks in that line. Their running game so far has been pretty much non-existent.
Yeah.
So if Pitt can get them one-dimensional. I mean, again, I mentioned earlier in the podcast that they got the defensive backfield that could maybe make some things happen.
Right.
We'll see.
We'll see. But you didn't give me the prediction earlier, so give it to me now as we're heading out here. Beautiful Friday evening.
So
going to be
this is-
Saturday morning.
So this is the 100th meeting
Yes.
of the Pitt Penn State.
And possibly the last.
Most likely the last.
For a long, they'll play again,
Most
but it
likely.
won't be
and,
for.
and don't give me this bullshit about let's play in Philadelphia. I mean, that's just it's just more frankly.
They're going to play in neutral
Yeah,
site.
let's
It's
play a
going to be
neutral
at
site.
Somerset High School.
Let's go to Syracuse.
Right
let's
off
go
the
to West
turnpike.
Virginia. Let's go to Robert Morris.
Hey,
What
just
the hell?
play in Somerset. I don't know what people are talking about. You get the high school, you get 2,000 parents and family only,
Right.
and you tee it up. It's not a
Right.
problem. All proceeds go to local Somerset, the American Legion.
Exactly.
So,
I got no problem with
we're
that.
good. We're good. But no, I'm with you. When they're floating around neutral sites, I'm looking at a map going, guys, I mean, I know we both talk shit on each other's universities here,
Right.
but let's look at this realistically. I don't know what we're doing. So
Yeah,
but
I'm sure Pitt's going to agree to play in Philadelphia.
Right. Yeah.
Ask Temple how that works when they play a game
no, and that's
there, right?
Temple's home game.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Yeah,
right. Exactly right. So,
but hit me, man. Here.
all right. So 100th meeting
Yes.
between Pitt Penn State. Do you realize, Kevin? Some trivia here.
Okay.
The 100th meeting of Pitt, West Virginia.
Oh yeah, I know where you're going with this.
You know where I'm going with this?
I do.
How about 13-9 Pitt?
Yeah.
When West Virginia was number 2 in the country,
Yeah.
they went down to Morgantown and shocked the world.
Tend to play well in the 100th version.
Exactly.
Of the rivalry game.
Exactly right. So, honestly, Kevin, I'm going to tell you right now.
Okay.
I am not saying this from my brain, from my head. This is all coming from the heart.
Here we go.
This is all coming from the heart, okay? Pitt gets some turnovers, maybe a special team play. I got Pitt in the upset.
Let's go.
27-24.
Ooh.
But we need turnovers. I mean, I don't see Pitt's offense scoring 27 points. We need to make something happen on defense. We need to get some turnovers, which, by the way, we haven't gotten any yet this year. So, but this is the heart talking.
Yep.
This is what I want to happen. Okay.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Pitt 27, Penn State 24.
Okay. All right. You heard it here first when you guys are walking out of Happy Valley Beaver Stadium and Pitt
Exactly.
pulls up a W. Pull up your phone, give a shout out to Too Close to Call because Chris Mihalik called it here first. And yeah, I don't know. I'm looking forward to tomorrow, and I think Pitt's they're gonna show up. It's a noon kickoff.
They'll show up.
It's an early kickoff, but I don't know.
But there's also a good chance it could get out of hand in the second half.
That's what I'm saying.
Right, there's
See,
a-
that's not showing up. You know what I mean? Like, showing up's the whole time. Army showed up in Ann Arbor.
Army did show up.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, I think Pitt's going to show up.
But here's
I don't think they're going to go anywhere.
And here's the thing. There's no Saquon Barkley. There's no
Right.
Miles
Yeah,
Sanders.
so-
and last I checked McSorley, there's a lot of question marks on
Yeah.
that Nittany line offense.
That's what I'm
So
saying. Maybe
think they'll show up.
Maybe the champ will wander a little bit when they get hit.
And by the way, the studio that you got here with the bobbleheads of Bill Hillgrove and James Conner.
Oh, yeah.
I love it. Absolutely.
Let's see if we can get Bill here.
Absolutely love it.
I don't know. Bill works sometimes.
So is the Pitt offense.
I don't know. Every now and then he talks, and it's like, oh, there's a ghost in the room. Nice.
And by the way, Bill Hillgrove's a legend for Pitt football. He's been doing it since I went to school there. And all I need from him tomorrow.
It's disappointing. Why won't you talk, Bill?
All I need from him tomorrow is a couple loose football, and the Panthers have it.
There it is.
That's what I need from Bill Hillgrove tomorrow.
Oh, man. Need some new batteries. But anyway, hopefully you guys enjoyed this pod as you're cruising out to State College from Pittsburgh or from Philadelphia, wherever the hell you're cruising from. Let us know what you guys think's going to happen. We'll post this on Facebook. Hopefully get some comments rolling in. Let you know. You guys let us know what you think's going to happen. If Pitt can pull the upset or how confident you're feeling in our boys.
One last thing, Kevin, just so the listeners know that I am heading to Creepy Valley tomorrow.
Yes, yeah.
Looking forward tomorrow. I got to come home tomorrow and shower, of course, afterwards. Yep. But it's going to be a great day. It's going to be the last game in a great rivalry. Looking forward to it. So, hey, Ali Kanak and hail to Pitt.
Peace.